This is the most perfect description of Allah's unity, which you can't find in the same manner, in the same order, with the same beauty in any other book in the world. Not to mention Bible, anywhere. All books collected together have not defined the unity of God so perfectly and so beautifully as Surah Ikhlas has done it. So why should you try to find that Bible has also mentioned this? You will try in vain. You won't succeed if you really should try that. Why do you say Surah Ikhlas then? Just say, how can you prove the oneness of Allah from Bible?
Just they say, वो कहते हैं कि Bible में लिखा है कि तीन खुदा है.
Ask this question. This is a different question from the one you were asking previously. The fact is that to prove oneness of Allah from the Bible is not at all difficult. That is a different thing. The Bible, that is the Old Testament and the New Testament. That is called Bible. Now, first of all, the Old Testament throughout, right from beginning to the end, does not speak of any God other than Allah or any God beside Him. So the testimony of all the prophets of the Bible are against there being a God other than God Himself, or there being any partner. Now, as for the New Testament, we challenge them to prove where Trinity has been mentioned in the Holy Scriptures. The principle involved is this, and this is what I want you to learn. This is more important, and this will be a good avail to you in every debate. Whenever there is an established way of life, if somebody speaks against that established way of life, the burden of proof is on his shoulders, not on the one who believes in that traditional way. If something happens routinely, in general principle, something happens like something. If somebody claims that an exception has taken place, this time it has not happened like this, then the burden of proof always lies on the shoulders of the one who has come with this innovation. So starting from Old Testament, we know the testimony of the whole of prophets in favor of one God. And the Old Testament does not even remotely mention the possibility of there being another God but Allah, or as it is called Jehovah. Yes. So, when this is the established rule, if an exception is made by some people, a new different claim is made, the burden of proof is on their shoulders, not on our shoulders. They should say that in the New Testament, when Jesus claimed to be the Son of God, He claimed that there were two gods or three gods or gods other than Allah. That is for them to prove, and they cannot. Whenever they will try to prove this by any verse of the Holy Bible, there and then you will find, if you read a few verses before and a few verses after, you will find the answer there. So it's not for us to prove, it is for them to prove that the New Testament speaks against the oneness of Allah. This is why the high scholars never say that. In fact, those people who are true scholars among the Christians, they don't make this claim. They say, no, the Bible speaks of one God, and we believe in one God, because they can't escape this. Yet they say that it is 3 in 1 and 1 in 3, and this dilemma is created just because of this difficulty they find in their ways. They know if there was to be revealed to mankind the existence of a God other than this God, why it was so late? After all the prophets had passed and the phenomena had finished according to them, they also believe in a sort of khatm nubuwwat. They say all the prophets came, and the prophethood finished at the time of Jesus Christ. Then a new institution began to take shape, and that was appearance of God himself in some form or another. In the first appearance, they say it was to be a manifestation of Son of God. In the second coming, it was to be God himself, and they are still waiting for the second coming. So all this has led them to difficulties, in fact. They believe all the prophets have passed, and what was prophesied by all these prophets were left in the past. All the prophecies put together do not mention, even remotely, the possibility of there being another God but Allah. So our case is very strong. To break this case, it is up to them to come out with very strong and cogent proof. Yes, Rashid Saab ultimately asked for.
Sorry, sir, I'm very sorry. 2 days ago, sir, on 26th of July.
Sorry, you are trying to deceive us?
No, not at all. He's my next door neighbor, so I have right over him.
And you are asking him, in the presence of everybody, you attribute to him a claim which he had never made. You said he had consented, and he had not. He was looking at you dumbfounded.
I'm sorry.
And you said, look, there is going to be. That reminded me of a joke. And that was in Punjabi. You told me that I tell that joke in the vernacular because it's difficult to translate. There was a mullah who used to go, I'll come to the Punjabi later on. There was a mullah who used to go for early morning walks. And when he passed by the sugarcane field of some other farmer, his hands began to itch for eating sugarcane. But he was a very pious man. He was a mullah. He could not take anything without permission of the proprietor. So what he did was that he stood there and said, "O Bibi Kamadi, Tanu puche Mullah Qadi, Ganne do panna ki char." Then he said quietly to himself, "Panna pansat." So, in English it would be something like this, that he made a rhyme out of that question answer. He asked the sugarcane field, addressing the sugarcane field, that I, the Maulvi of the village, who is also justice of the village, Qadi, I ask your permission. Would you permit me to Panna is very difficult to pluck 2 or 3 sugar canes from here, and then in a changed voice he would answer himself. He said, "All right, take a few, 5 or 7, it's okay." So he used to do it, and the farmer noticed that patch of baldness appearing in one corner. So once, it was, this sugar cane is found in extremely cold days, particularly they rise by about 15th of December. And from 15th till 15th of January, they are in the full season. So it was during those days that it happened. The farmer hid himself in the sugar cane field and watched for the whole phenomena to happen before him. So the mullah came and did all this drama. So the farmer came out and he held him. He said, "Come on, let's go somewhere. Let's go places," as they say. So he took him to a nearby canal, which was extremely cold, and addressed the canal by telling him that I, the poor farmer, ask you a question. Would you please answer? Should I Dhote raste ki what will be there? Dip the mullah. Should I dip this poor mullah twice or thrice in you? Then he changed his voice and said, do it for 7 or 8 times. I don't mind. So he did it for 7 or 8 times, you know. Water is more than a dip, you know. If you have not seen anybody having been done, you know, this water is into him, you can't imagine what water means to a man who has gone through this experience. So you were doing this exactly the same thing.
I didn't mean to honestly. I did not mean to, sir.
He does it to you, he would not mean either.
Anyway, you speak very beautiful Punjabi. I'm very glad of that. So, question.